So it says parents were once convinced the devil was lurking in their children's record collections and toy boxes. Mm-hmm. Is the same thing happening to Mexico's skeleton saint? Skeleton saint.
Keep going.
Throughout the 1980s, concerned parents were led to fear that demonic influence lay hidden in much that their kids found entertaining. Music, games, TV. The hysteria dubbed the Satanic Panic has passed into history, but now, in the nightmare world of Mexico's narco wars, both the church and the state are mounting a perhaps similar campaign against Santa Muerte, the skeleton saint whom they hold responsible for the atrocities of the Sicarios.
It's interesting because earlier you were like, well, we were talking about Santa Muerte. You were like, yeah, it actually reminds me of the Satanic Panic.
Yeah. In retrospect, the Satanic Panic simply followed the time-honored tradition of parents not understanding or liking what excited their children. When the same parents were young, their parents hated the Beatles, two of the 1980s most salient cultural artifacts, heavy metal records, and Saturday morning cartoons.
Kind of weird they involved the cartoons with that.
Yeah.
Like I can see metal music.
Yeah, that's what I understand the metal just because of the imagery they use, but like cartoons.
Kind of interested.
And this is the 80s, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about like what, the Jetsons or...
Yeah. The predictable responses from parents and conservative media, such as the public burning of records, guaranteed publicity. Such coverage frequently came care of The Exorcist and TV host Bob Larson.
Okay, hold on. You ever heard of Bob Larson?
That name's very familiar, but I don't know.
He does a lot of, around the 80s, he does a lot of like interviews with people that are apparently involved in like these Satan things. Or like, he interviewed people from the Church of Satan and like neo-Nazis and stuff. It, like, he would just make like the actual subject to like more intense to what it really was. Like he was like calling them out and saying like, Jesus said this is wrong. Like he was like putting them on the spot.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff to read, but he also became like what they call like a scammer, because he's apparently like this exorcist specialist or whatever, and he like I think we talked about
yes, that's why I remember him. Yeah,
through webcams.
Yeah,
through webcams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, such coverage frequently came care of the Exorcist and TV host Bob Larson, who frequently hosted Satanists on his anti-occult show Talk Back. But the most significant backlash against heavy metal during the era was against hidden, not blanted messages. In 1985, two teenagers in Reno, Nevada attempted suicide after listening to albums by Judas Priest. 5 years later...
I mean...
No, it's just...
well, that does it.
They make it seem like it was because they listened to Judas Priest, not because of the feelings they had before they listened to it.
The music was so bad. I can't handle this anymore. How dare you make such bad music, Judas Priest?
It's just, out of all bands, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Like, it's not funny, but
it's
I don't know.
5 years later, their parents sued both the band and its record label, CBS, claiming subliminal messages like "Let's Be Dead" and "Do It" had led their children to try to kill themselves. CBS and Judas Priest were both acquitted, but the case served as a grim bookend to a decade defined by such accusations. While heavy metal threatened their teenagers, parents were simultaneously guarding their younger children from the occult influence in cartoons. If you want to survey the ultimate encyclopedia of satanic toy propaganda, look no further than Turmoil in the Toy Box. Originally...
That's actually kind of cool sounding.
Turmoil in the Toy Box. That might be this episode name. Turmoil in the Toy Box. Originally released in 1984, this video consists of a 90-minute... How do you say that? Faux?
Yeah.
You and your smokers laugh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Fox.
It's faux.
Okay. The video consists of a 90-minute faux interview between the Christian author Phil Phillips and the pastor Dr. Gary L. Greenwald, in which the two ascribe occult and satanic undercurrents to an exhaustive list of children's programming. Star Wars, for instance, borrowed the Force from witchcraft, while Scooby-Doo's paranormal investigations were really endorsements of the occult. The Smurfs were undead, transgendered, and gay.
Wait. That wasn't what I was expecting.
It's like cut.
Oh God.
So so this was in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how that stuff still kind of exists. Because remember, like, when we were in church one day?
Yes, I was going to bring it up. I
mean, that's what I was thinking, too. Like, we had this thing, like, pretty much this happened with our generation as well. Probably not as to the extent this did, but...
We were, maybe in high school?
Yeah.
We went to church, and, like, the person preaching was saying how, I think, they said, like, Sesame Street was demonic or something.
Yeah.
And it was, like, the Powerpuff Girls, too?
Yeah. Because, like, I think, like, me, you, Micah, and someone else, like, all just, like, ended up getting up and walking, like, out into the lobby and just, like, sitting out there.
There was a lot of us. We were just, like, we walked out, and I remember we sat on those stairs, and we were talking about it. We're like...
Micah started, like, making fun of it, and he was like, Powerpuff Girls and all that shit!
Demonic.
All that demonic shit! Pokemon! It stands for Pocket Monsters!
I remember being a kid and being told about that because I started like being involved in like the church when I was probably maybe in like second grade, and I remember like I was into like Pokemon and people were saying like this is demonic.
Yeah. So the Smurfs were undead, transgendered, and gay. It was fear mongering of the first order, but it wasn't unprecedented. Benjamin Radford is the author of Media Mythmakers, which analyzes narratives of ritual satanic abuse, conspiracy literature like Turmoil in the Toy Box, and their attendant reception in mass media. In his analysis, the Satanic Panic compounded a normal sociological event, the conflict that exists between every generation and its youth, with its elemental fear that every tribe feels toward the unknown. When Vice asked Larson if he still saw satanic elements at work in pop culture, his response was clear.
Here we go. I got this.
Are you kidding? He said. Everywhere. Darkness is what sells. Suicide Squad, Ouija 1 and 2, The Conjuring. Pick any performance of Beyonce.
Oh my gosh.
On TV, look at True Blood, Supernatural, The Walking Dead. In none of these,
I can already hear him saying that.
Is a truly Judeo-Christian view of evil given serious consideration.
Are you kidding?
Are you kidding?
Is that how he sounds?
He's got like I don't know, his voice is kind of... You can just tell he's one of those people. Just by the way he sounds.
So it says, like the Satanic Panic, hysteria over Santa Muerte has its own soundtrack, but rather than relying on metal's whiplash tempos and brutally screamed vocals, the music is heavy with accordions and tubas. Given Santa Muerte's association with the cartels, it makes sense that the songs written in her honor would come from the narco corrido genre, which itself grew from the folk music of Mexico's northern states. According to Chestnut, the first such corrido to declare devotion to the Bony Lady was released... I'm trying to be respectful.
The Bony Lady?
Was released in 2008, La Santa Muerte, with versions performed by both the singer and Beto. Is that guy running for Senate in Texas?
I don't think that's him.
Oh.
Beto, Beto O'Rourke. This is Beto Quintanilla.
Oh my god.
And as with the increasingly violent lyrics of other narco...
You want to try to say those names? You saw me.
So there's a whole sentence with a bunch of words that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, and I just casually skipped it. And I do that with Kristen all the time, but she's not like looking at it to call me out on it.
You know me, I can't let anything go.
All right, let's just skip ahead a little.
Like there's more.
Yeah, but that, you know.
Help him out, Kristen.
I can't see from here.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Anyways, you should actually send that to me. Okay. That's an interesting article.